Today's show is brought to you by Big O Tires of Prescott, the team you trust. By Cliff Castle Casino Hotel, always friendly, always fun.
Roger Kull with us, and he sculpts in leather. He does what very, very few people do, of course, unless you've gone through crafts in high school and you have mutilated a piece of leather as you were learning how to do it, or a piece of copper. Those were the two forms of art expression in school, I remember.
Indeed.
Roger, welcome. Thanks for talking to us. And how long have you been doing this? Did you start in school in crafts?
I started when I was 10 years old.
Oh, okay.
I was first exposed, but it wasn't through school.
Okay.
It was through a family friend that took a class, afraid to drive at night by herself, and my father said, "You're a farm kid, you know how to drive and change tires, go with her." The class was $2 in a junior high school in evenings, and we were poor. I couldn't afford the $2 to be in the class, so I was a kid that hung around. But I was a nice kid, and people would give me a tool or they'd give me a scrap of leather to work on, and that's when I was first exposed to it.
This is such a masterful art form.
Yes.
We were talking about it before you came on, because we've all tried it. Tanya mentioned we've all tried in school, and I made a mess of a belt. I couldn't even put my name on there.
Criminal what you did?
That was
To that
criminal.
piece of leather.
Absolutely, it was despicable. But so, what is the technique? Obviously, you started, but we're looking at your.
You've taken it further than just
Yes.
leather tooling.
Yes.
I have.
Yes, it's sculpting the leather.
The interesting thing about it is that you see the leather, and it's the hammered craft leather.
Meaning that's what this is?
This is quarter-inch thick saddle skirting,
Okay.
natural color. That's all it is.
It's very firm.
It is very
Yes, it
firm.
is. It has a lot of body to it. But it's easy to ruin because it was natural material. It scars up easy, it discolors. There's a lot of things about it that have to be protected. But when you're working on it, you can ruin it quite easily. But the technique traditionally is the hammering, stamping technique. And during the hippie era, you saw a lot of the stamping. You would just mash it out and get it out and whatnot. And a lot of people...
belts and coasters, three-legged
Yes.
stool.
Absolutely. Leather, of course, has been around for thousands of years, and of course, many, many things have been done with it. But to take it into an art form, I realized I had to have a softer look, something that didn't scream craft at you. I wanted to take it up to a higher level. I reduced it down to two tools. A swivel knife, a saddle maker's knife. There's nothing special about this
I
knife.
remember that knife in craft.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
And a clay modeler's spoon. Little curved point on one end, little pointed spoon on the other.
That's it?
That's it. You can carry my shop in your shirt pocket. Everything that I do is based on these two tools.
I remember there were more well, there were the
there are
stamping.
hundreds.
Yeah, there's hundreds of them.
Yes. It became a business where left side of the pine tree you needed a tool, right side of the pine tree you needed another tool, and it became a business of selling tools to craftspeople.
This has got to be very tedious work.
Yes, it is. And it's time consuming. It does. I'm a freehand artist in that I do not work from patterns.
But you sketch it first?
No, I actually go right on the leather with the knife.
Really?
I can demonstrate this
Please do.
very easily. Well, on this piece here, this is not prepared to do it because it's dry.
Okay.
The leather is medium damp when I work on it, and it becomes pliable and it will take an impression. But on this, you will see the knife cuts here. The only drawback about a knife is the fact that you can't erase. You have to be confident about what you're doing, and of course some experience doesn't hurt. But I lay out my lines, I figure out what I'm... there's a lot of it going on up here when I'm working. You're visualizing as you work. Then the technique with the spoon then is to press and smooth edges, create flowing lines, create details, and even the stretching technique of where it gets the dimension.
I see what you're doing. You're pushing that.
Yes. When the leather is
Out.
damp, it's pliable.
So you can do that.
But Roger, I guess when you get to a certain point, and if you make a mistake, can you correct that mistake?
No, you cannot.
So it's...
Unless you can make it work for you.
It's a very rare thing. Mistakes are awkward usually, and they show. And what happens usually is that if you want to save it at all, you can fry it in butter and eat it. But it's not going to work
I
out.
love the way now this is a pot, obviously, and what you've done on this pot is cut it here so it looks like the pot. If we can see that on camera, it looks like there's
That's right.
a pot.
Well, artists are
Folks,
illusionists.
that's a pot.
It is.
Yeah. Artists are illusionists. We take something that's not the reality and we try to make it look real. So as this is opened up, it gives you the true elliptical opening. So when you stretch by applying pressure, using your palm as a
When
guide,
it's damp.
You work the leather out, inch by inch. There's no molds used. It's simply a hand technique to stretch and pull the leather up and give it the dimension.
Roger, why isn't there, obviously, as Tanya mentioned when she introduced you, there's not very many people doing this, if any. Why? Is it because it's so difficult or hard to work with?
I think people get locked in the tradition and they can't see their way out of it. They're taught to trace a pattern down. The closest you can get to art is the pattern that has the bear with the fish in his mouth, the deer in the woods, the Indian spearing the buffalo. But people don't get into the reality of creative art where you sit down and say, am I the real deal or not? Can I create as I go? And that's what it takes to be a true original artist and to step out away from the pack.
But Roger, what we could do if someone was starting, could we not take that traditional you're talking about, something sketched on the leather, and you could actually make it like this, so couldn't you?
You could, depending on the subject matter, absolutely. Everything starts...
It wouldn't have to be freehand.
No, it does not. All artists, they say, need a model at some time.
Okay.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with new artists starting, working from something, looking at patterns, looking at other artwork that inspires them. That's how you get started.
I love this.
Children do this.
Amazing.
How long did it take you just to get to this point?
On this piece here? I work rather quickly when I work. Keep in mind, this is all that I have done for 32 years. I have made somewhere around 14,000 leather pictures in the career.
And we're seeing on the screen right now some representations of your work.
Yes.
This is fabulous work. Where can we see you coming up shortly?
Well, we are doing a studio tour. Of course, in our studios. That comes up in November in Cave Creek. We are going to do a gallery showing in Santa Fe at the Arroyo Gallery. And that's going to be our group. Southwestern Premier Artist is our group, and we're going to be showing at the gallery there. You'll be able to see my work at the Arroyo Gallery on Canyon Road in Santa Fe. That will be the third weekend in August. And usually down at the studio is a good place to come.
And the studio is located exactly where?
6033 East Skyline Drive, Cave Creek, Arizona.
And that's right there is Roger working on his art as we're speaking. You say, I must point out that the photo, well, no, the painting, the sculpture, the piece of leather hanging behind us on the set is Roger's, and Roger said that was medium of the road for him. You're meaning in quality? To me, it looks extraordinary.
Thank you. That's very kind of you. What I meant by saying it's middle of the road is the fact that that is not the level of difficulty that you can get to. You can go far past this. And then, of course, simplicity, as you see here. But the fact of the matter is, I wanted to take it out of the craft level and pull it up to where it was no longer regarded as a craft project. This technique gave me a softer look, less hard-edged. It was more appropriate to a fine art look. Then the galleries took attention. And then my world changed.
Until you told me that was leather, I thought that was a painting. Roger?
Fabulous.
What a pleasure to meet you, my
Fabulous.
friend.
Tanya, thank you so much for having me.
I'm so impressed with that.
Completely. I mean, we know how it works, and it didn't work for me. What will work for you, though, is a trip to Cliff Castle, because Tanya has all the information. It is a lot of fun for everyone that shows up there, Tanya.
Cliff Castle Casino, and that is where you can have fun gambling, you can have fun eating, you can just have fun, because it's a fun place to be. We're talking about a great place to bring the family and enjoy an event, Storytellers Restaurant. If you buy an entree Wednesday and Thursday, you get the other entree half off. And we want you to be prepared to buy tickets for Bill Envol, Saturday, June 11th. He's going to appear at the Stargazers.